Boom. Isn't that kind of creepy? Yeah, she's like talks to us now. All right. So, all right, guys. Oh my gosh, what is up? Happy Thursday. I don't even know the date. I think it's the 10th. You guys, so I have the pleasure of interviewing. It was supposed to be Montana Long and Natasha Cuenga from Hawaii, but Natasha is not able to get on. But we've got Montana, and I know girl is on. I'm so excited for this. I actually have a lot of questions for her. So you guys, if you're able to turn your cameras on, do so. If not, do not worry about it. Make sure you're taking notes. This is going to be really, really amazing. But also feel free to ask questions. I will check the chat. I'll make sure that we get as many questions in as we can. She is so gracious enough to be on with us tonight, you guys. And so thank you, Montana. Sis, let's see. I don't know if you can unmute yourself.
Hey, girlfriend, I'm here.
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for getting on with us.
Yeah, I'm so freaking excited. I'm fueled and I'm ready to go, y'all.
Yay. All right. So let's start with this. I've got it recording. So go ahead and give us a brief recap of your story and how you got to today.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the brief one because the long one's going to like take the whole Zoom. So y'all, I'm just going to be real brief with it. But I started this business about 7 years ago, working full-time, 12 hours in the urgent care as a nurse while raising 3 kiddos. So all my kiddos are pretty much back to back. So when I started, they were 10 months old, 1.5, and 4 years old. 2 of them still in diapers, all at the same time. And I was just at this point where I was broken mentally, emotionally, and financially. Like, go ahead and drop a 1 if you can relate to any of that right there, because that's how I started. I started with only Facebook as my social media, only 89 friends. I'm an introvert. So, and I'm like a special kind of introvert to where people exhaust me. Okay. It's not that I'm scared. Like, I'm scared of some people. They like look mean, but it's not that I'm really scared of people, is that they literally just exhaust me. And so the fact that 1, I was working as a nurse, and 2, I'm coming into a social media business that involves me working with people, you think I would have some fears, right? But one of the biggest questions I asked myself was, Montana, are you going to be in the exact same spot in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? And the answer was yes, you guys. And so I took my bill money. I started, even though I had no idea what I was doing. I started and I went ruby in 27 days. I went diamond in 3 months. I went double diamond in 7 months. And then I had a lot of life happen to me where I went through a divorce. I had to find a new house off the military base. I had to just restart my life and learn how to walk into being a single parent 24/7. And it's not that I let my business go, but I definitely was not active in my business at 100% level. No freaking way, because I have this history of learning how to hit obstacles and work through my business. Go ahead and drop a 2 real quick, you guys. If you have a hard time knowing that, hey, I have this obstacle, but how do I work my business at the same time? Well, that was me walking in there. Okay. And so I got my house all set up. A couple months went by, and I just decided, like, this sounds so funny, but I was literally in my closet writing scripture and praying to God, but like really mad at God at the same time, and drinking alcohol. Like, I was drunk, writing scripture, and being mad and loving God all in the same night, you guys. And literally the next day I picked up and I went from, I think I was like, I don't know, maybe ruby, maybe diamond. And I went from that to triple diamond in 28 days. It was February. Okay. And so I did that. We brought in like over, 50,000 in volume within a 15-day period to make it happen. And so, like, if that wasn't God showing me, hey, you're supposed to be qualified here, I don't know what is. But then I moved from Alaska back to Ohio, where all my toxic family was, like my mom, my brothers, like, you know, all the people, like, they were all toxic. They hated on me. They belittled me. They did everything possible to try and like destroy the woman I built. And definitely what happened is I walked away from my business this time. Like, I actually quit. Okay. I walked away as a triple diamond. Like I was just in the darkness. There's nothing you could have done. There's nothing you could have said to fix me. I felt like I was broken and that was the only thing that mattered. And I walked away. I went back to a OBGYN office and I worked there as a nurse for an entire year until I had my never again moment where I walked into my house and I was exhausted, you guys. Like my kids wanted my attention. I was just exhausted. I didn't want to hug them. I didn't want to say hi. And that was so heartbreaking to me. And I just walked into my kitchen and I slid down the countertop and just bursted out into tears. Like this is the moment where I broke myself. And sometimes I feel like God has to use those certain kind of scenarios to build us back up, to put us in the right direction where he needs us. And that's exactly what happened that night. I said, you know what? I've done it once and I can do it again. And I am so much more worthy than I'm giving myself credit to. And the fact that I'm struggling financially and lost my business all the way back down to Ruby, y'all, like I woke up that next day and I said, I have to step out in faith. And I walked away from my job that day and I didn't go back. And so I took my kids, I packed up, I put everything in storage, and I had my car, my dog, and my 3 kids in like this mini SUV. And we went and traveled for 3 months to figure out like, what do I want to do with life? And I was working the business the whole time doing that. And I went back to Double Diamond that following month. And then a couple months later, I went back to Triple Diamond. So imagine the work I had to put in those 6 months to go from Ruby back up to Triple Diamond. It was a freaking crazy ride. But y'all, that happened 2 years ago. And I have been consistent and have kept my promise to God every single day and to myself that, you know what, no matter what obstacle I was going to face, that I was going to face it while working my business and while gaining that confidence. Bought my house this past year. It'll be a year in July that we did that. We got 3 acres. We're building our farm life that we want, and we're totally debt free too. And that's like a plus. Okay. I got my dream Tahoe paid cash. Like I don't want no debt on that. And it's because of this, you know, I became a top enroller again in the company this past year, top 5. And it's just been an uphill battle at the same time while developing myself. So that's the story, girl.
Oh my gosh. You know, I've heard your story again, but sometimes you ever just hear something the first time and you're like, wow, that's really good. But then you hear it again and it's because, you know, situations have happened and it just hits a little bit different. Like, wow. Okay. So that's a lot to process, but I want to go back for like a little bit. So we're going to talk enrollments in a second, guys, but I want you to, this is like totally, she has no idea like what I'm asking. So, but,
okay.
So I want to go back though, because you said you had your never again moment. And I think so many of us can relate to that. Right. And you know what, the interesting thing, Montana, is that I even think that a lot of you guys, even if you're new in the business or not new, you may be having a never again moment recently. There's a lot of people that I know are having those deeper moments where you're questioning whether or not this is where you need to be. And so by you saying that, it was just like, wow. So take me back to that moment, because what I think is very interesting and I want people to understand and I want to learn is when you had that moment and you woke up and you said, okay, here's the way this is going to go. Walk me through how do you prep for something like that? Because I think I can say that I had a never again moment, but like, how do I prep for that? And then how do you execute it and still execute it to this day, which I love? Like, take me through that.
Okay, so in this scenario, I couldn't prep for something like that. I was a sobbing mess the night before, but I just knew that I couldn't continue to live like that. And so when I woke up that next morning, I called my job, like I was bye, see you later, not coming back. And I just said, you know what? I can apologize to my team all day long, but that's not going to make them work their business. And that's definitely not going to make me work my business. So what do we do to inspire people like, hey, I'm back. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm serious. And that's by taking action, by enrolling customers, by enrolling distributors, by doing the things that we get paid to do. And so that's exactly what I dove into. You guys, I didn't know that we had keto coffee. I didn't know we had any of this. I didn't know what host to post was when I came back because we didn't have that then. And so when I came back, I said, I went to my upline who was an ambassador at Diamond and I said, hey, what is host to post? How do I do it? How do I figure this out? And so it was just like I was a brand new distributor trying to figure out my business again. Like I knew how to add friends. I knew the basics of what I needed to do, but I didn't know the new products that we had. So what did I have to do? I had to go self-educate myself. And I had to figure out how to host a post. You guys, I started doing host to post that month right there. I signed 97 loyal customers that month by doing host to post. Okay. And so I just started doing it and taking action. And I knew that no matter how much I apologized to my team or no matter how many excuses that I came up with, it's never going to be validated. And I am such a firm believer in that it doesn't matter if you tell me you're busy. I'm not going to validate that for you. Even for myself, you guys. Like I will never say, hey, I'm busy. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I don't work that way. I will say, hey, I didn't make time to show up here because it wasn't important to me. And I started doing that from the get-go. And I made that promise to myself that I wasn't going to be that person that came up with excuses anymore. That if I was going to come up with something, I was going to say it in a way that was going to hurt my freaking feelings if I had to say it that way. And so that was my action. I mean, if we're talking about prepping, I guess praying, but I just had to stop thinking. Like I had to stop being in my head about it and stop overthinking. I said, I just got to get up. I already know what to do. I just need to go put it into play. And that's just what I did. My team started coming back. They started seeing what I was doing. They started seeing that I was serious this time. But, it took time to rebuild those relationships. But one of the things I always remind myself of is it doesn't matter if you have a working team or not. I'm going to go enroll my working team. And so that's something I always keep in mind when it comes to situations or scenarios that are just like that.
That's so awesome. And I love that, success leaves clues. I think the pace of the leader is the pace of the pack. And you just decided, you were like, look, some people can call it maybe bulldozing where they're like, look, like this is where I'm going. If you want to come, I want you to come with me. But if you don't want to come, that's okay too. And I'll love you where you are, but I gotta go. Right. And I think sometimes we get in our heads and we get so caught up in like, yeah, but she's my friend and that's great. But at the end of the day, this is a business. This is a business, right? And there's so many things that are depending on this working, your family, your kids, your health, your overall well-being, like, right? At the end of the day, that is more important than someone else's feelings. So I love that. So, okay, now let's talk about this enrollments, because that's really what it was. When you say action, it was that self-discipline, but let's talk host to post. What I love about your story is that this was brand new for you. And I think that, yes, sure, a lot of us do host to post, great. And a lot of us have this sometimes negative mindset towards it and sometimes positive, right? It's like hot and cold. But walk me through when you first started host to post, like what did it look like for you? And how did you develop, or do you still do the same exact system then, right, with mass enrollments as you do now? Because I know you still mass enroll.
Okay, so I never do the same exact systems ever, because you know what worked for me last month does not mean that it's going to work for me this month. What worked for me a week ago does not mean that's going to work with me this week. And so I'm always evolving, changing, self-analyzing and what I'm doing and what results that it's giving me. So you guys, please take that away from me. Please take that tip. If what you're doing is not working for you, think for solutions. Don't think for problems. Okay. And so I just started asking people, okay, I was super scared. I was like, man, how am I supposed to talk about this business right now when I have been away from my business? Like, how am I supposed to enroll distributors? I think that was the biggest challenge I had to walk through that month and I kept asking myself that, how am I supposed to enroll distributors or even enroll customers when I've been away for my business for an entire year? And that's when I say you have to get out of your head. You have to stop thinking for other people. You have no idea what the other person is saying or thinking or knowing on the other side of that conversation. So for me to come into that conversation and just assume what they're thinking, that's just stupidity on another level. And I was like, man, Montana, stop being stupid right now, because you got to get it together. And so I just started asking people to host a post. And I know that if I want massive results, I need to ask amount of people, right? I need to ask a high amount of people. And I think what happens is that a lot of us like, hey, I messaged 50 people. I'm going to get all 50 people that reply back to me. And that is just not the case, sweetheart. Like I will message 100 people and I'll get like 10 to 15 people that respond back to me and maybe like a few stragglers over the next 24 to 48 hours. So what if you message that 100 people 3 times a day instead of just 1 time a day? So always look at, and I'm not saying that you have to be that extreme about it, but what I'm saying is look at what you're doing and just do more of it. And that's something I did in my business coming back right away was like, hey, I need to go all in. I need to go hard at this. And I need to tell everybody, and I need to message everybody, and I just need to get out of my whole freaking head. And here I was like back at home again, signing customers, 0 distributors, y'all, 0 distributors. Because at this point I was too scared. I was too scared to talk about money. I was fearful. I was doubtful. I was like, no freaking way can I do that. And here's one of the things that Jade Hooper taught me that month, and it couldn't have came at a better freaking time. And she said, the reason why you sign more customers than you do distributors is because you are too scared to talk about the opportunity and where it could take somebody. I mean, she was so bold about it, you guys. And I was like, oh my God, how did God know? Okay. Like I was walking through that. And so I was like, you start talking about, you talk about products all the time and you talk about loyal customers all the time and you sign those and you're so confident in those. But what you really need to be working on is what you're not so confident in. And I think a lot of us try to do that. We try to stay in the category of what we're confident in and not work on what we're not so confident in. And so that's when I took on the challenge. You know what? I'm just going to talk about the business. Like I'm back at home. I'm going to network with brand new people. I'm just going to do all the things, you guys. And it's just getting that checklist in front of you and saying, hey, I'm going to do this and check mark it off. Hey, I'm going to do this and check mark it off. And so that's kind of what it looked like.
And I love that. And I agree with you. I think that a lot of times when I hear people say, well, it's not working for me, it's not working. And it's like, they have a mindset of, well, let me just check this box. It says to message 15 people. I'll just do 15. And like you said, you assume all 15 are just going to post for you when in reality, maybe 1 will, right? Maybe two. But it's like, we got to have the mindset shift of like, do it until. So even though this says 15, do it until you get that number that you're going for. And so if that means you're sending 200 messages that day, guess what? How much does it mean to you? Right? Like you said, your plan B was now your plan A, and you had to do whatever it took. And I think that is the decision that many of you haven't made yet. Like when you make that defining decision that says, you know what, this has to work and I'm going to make sure that it works. And you're going to stop at nothing to make sure that that comes to pass, then I think you're going to have that same sort of work ethic and mentality that not many are willing to have. And that's what's going to get people to their level of success faster, right? I mean, because you're willing to do whatever it takes, And it's interesting. I read something the other day and it says, what you believe, you build, and what you doubt, you delay. And so it's interesting when you said that about not wanting to message distributors, right? Like how often we get scared, we get in our own head. Well, I don't have a story, so I don't really know what to say. If she asks a question, I'm going to freak out. I don't know. Like, I'm asking my upline too many questions, so I don't want to ask her this, And what if they say, oh my gosh, right? And all the while you're psyching yourself out, you could have messaged 15 people. Like, what are we doing, right? Right. Yeah. It's no longer about you. It's about everybody else, but we tend to want to make it about us and about the way that we feel, so I love that. So take me through, and I see some questions coming in and we'll go back to those, but take me through like you said in the beginning, it was like product. So do you to this day believe that product host to post are your best or most effective method that you utilize for BV?
So the way that I work my business today is that TikTok is for distributors, but I also do a little bit of customers on there as well. It's just I like to just keep it, and I'll explain that why in a second. But I do host to post strictly just for product. So I have my Facebook host to post for product. I have my TikTok for business. And I'm going to explain why, you guys. So I do strictly business mostly. I would say 90%. on TikTok because I like to post about the gummies like sometimes on there. But I do that because here's the thing. I'm going to get a lot more response from people who want to make an income. I know that. I know that 100%. Okay. But if I can take them from my TikTok over to my Instagram, have the potential distributor conversation, it's not for them, or maybe they leave me on red. Guess what I get to do in a week from now? Flip the script. Now I get to flip the script and offer them the product. Okay. Now I'm giving them double exposure on my TikTok and my Instagram. And some people go and follow me on my Facebook too. So I'm always flipping the script. So if they don't want to do the business, flip the script to the product. If they don't want to do the product, I'm going to flip the script to host a post on Instagram. And so that's why I do mostly business on TikTok, just because I know that I'm going to get more interest when it comes to making an income. But I also know that this business is not for everyone. Okay. Anyone can do it, but the business is not for everyone. But they could be amazing loyal customer. Okay. And maybe down the road, it'll be meant for them and they'll be able to walk in that. So I use Host to Post for a product now, and then I use TikTok for business.
I love that. And I know you do the TikTok for business partners. And so what would you suggest or recommend? Let's say someone is not necessarily active on TikTok right now. Maybe they've tried or haven't hit it. Maybe they're on Reels for Instagram. Do you recommend to your new distributors to get on TikTok to promote for the business? Or would you say utilize the platform you have and try to promote business that way? Or what do you normally recommend? Like, what do you think the best method is?
Everybody should be on TikTok, no matter how uncomfortable you are with it. Because when I started TikTok, I put it off for an entire year. Okay. Let me ask you guys this. Have you ever felt like something's missing in your business? Like, go ahead and drop a 1 for me real quick. If you ever felt like something's missing in your business, because that's how I felt in October. You guys, in September that month last year, I enrolled 1 distributor. I was mad as hell. I was mad. Okay. And when you get mad, you get motivated, or if you get mad, you get lazy. Choose which one you're going to be. Okay. When I get mad, I get motivated. And I said, okay, I'm going to get my butt on TikTok. I don't know what the heck I am doing. And y'all, I started just like anybody else from like Hobo Joe. Okay. I got on there and I said, I'm going to do this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to point. I got on there and I said, I'm just going to be authentic to who I am. And that is shy, and that is introvert. And I don't know how to shake my butt, do any dances. And I'm very bad at lip singing. And I'm definitely not freaking funny. Okay. I'm just not funny. And so I said, what can I do? I can find viral songs, and I can point, and I can tell my story in different ways over a course of time. And if you go look at my TikTok right now, you're going to see that is all I freaking do. That is all I do. And I went from like 200 followers to 20,000 followers over these last like 7 months that I've been doing it. But I just had to start. And my first TikToks got like nothing. Okay. Like 0 likes, 0 interest. Like they were like, I don't know this girl. Okay. And I get on there just like this, like hair all crazy and just being authentically mom. Okay. And so that's what I do for my TikToks. Like, don't get on there and think that you have to be perfect or perfectly dressed, or like, I'm not relatable to that. Okay. I do not relate to people that are perfectly dressed and have their makeup on and their hair done all the time. Like, no freaking way. Okay. Like, you need to give me a shirt and some shorts, and I'm going barefooted wherever I'm going. And so that's what you have to remind yourself of, is like with any social media that you do, just be authentic to who you are. So that means that you get dressed up and you look all freaking cute, then that's what you do. But if that means that you just wear a t-shirt and some shorts and you look crazy with your hair, then that's also what you do. And so just get on TikTok. With all my brand new distributors, I let them know I expect you to work all your social medias. Okay. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? I set the expectation with all my brand new distributors, because if I don't, then they're going to find out different, and they're going to find their own route of expectations that might not equal them success. If I can say, hey, listen, I expect you to work Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you got it, then they're going to do it. Right. And they're already, if I got them from TikTok, that means that they were on TikTok. So that means they probably need to work TikTok.
Yeah. And it's so true. And I love what you said. It's just about being authentic. I think sometimes we can psych ourselves out because we feel like we have to look a certain way, or maybe you follow another VIP leader and they're always done up, you know? And one thing that I've learned over my 5.5 years in this business, you guys listen, if you are so engrossed in comparing yourself to other leaders in this business, you got to start unfollowing people. It's not worth it to steal your joy. Like she said, you've got to come as yourself. And I think it's so much easier and it's less stressful to come as who you are naturally than to try to be somebody else. Because even if you were to get distributors that way, what's the type of relationship going to be? They're going to know, oh my gosh, so you don't always wear like 10 pounds of makeup and like you look like this most of the time. I didn't even recognize you, right? Like just come as you. And I think it can hopefully relieve some of the pressure that some of us tends to put on ourselves. So I love that. Now, so someone asked a question, Montana, how many messages do you send? Like, do you ever have any limitations when you're working Facebook and you're doing your product specifically? Do you have any limitations on how many messages you're sending? Do you ever get blocked? Do you have any, tips on that? Oh, wait, you're muted.
My bad. See, I'm a mess all the time. So something you guys have to realize with Facebook and Instagram is the more you do over time, the more Facebook and Instagram allows you to do. So if you can't go to your social media right now and message 100, it's because Facebook sees that you're inconsistent with that type of activity. Like that should be like a hello, sister, you've been kind of slacking moment if you get blocked. I'm just going to be honest, okay? Because I can tell you right now, I can go and message 1,000 people on my friends list right now, and I will not get blocked. How do I know that? Because I've already done it multiple different times, okay? So the more you do, the more those platforms will allow you to do, all right? And here's the other thing though. If you do get blocked, sister, that's why you have multiple platforms. Because like 2 years ago, remember when I was told you like I built my business and then I like came back and I went back up to Double Diamond? Do y'all know I lost my entire Facebook? Okay. Like there was no rhyme and reason. I wasn't doing anything freaking crazy. It just, Facebook decided whatever it wanted to decide. And so the Facebook I have now, I had to completely rebuild. And so I could look at that as like a way of like, holy crap, that really sucks. Or I could look at that the way as like, I'm going to find new friends. And that's pretty awesome. Okay. And that's the way I did it. And so when it comes to messaging and choosing how much you want to do, I want to ask you this. How many dates do you want to set every day? I do 5. Okay. And if that means that I have to message 200 people to have the conversation and set the 5 dates, then that's what I do. That means I have to do 300, then that's what I do. So my challenge to you guys, if you get date focused instead of how many I should send messages wise focused, you're going to see the success you want. Because if you set 5 dates over like a 30-day period, I mean, I ain't very good at math, but that's a lot of dates. Okay. I mean, like that's hundreds of dates right there that you would set over a 30-day period by just setting 5 dates a day. So that's something I would focus on. I have my whole team focus on that. I focus on that. And that's just my goal every day. So whatever it takes, it takes.
Yeah, it's like that what I said earlier, you do it until, and I love that. I love the date setting. I've never actually had that specific goal, maybe enrollments, but I love that, and it's something to kind of work towards. And I agree. I think if you guys don't have that specific daily goal, make one. Like you can easily start today, you guys don't have to wait. So I love that. Okay. So set dates. And I love what you said. I never have heard that before, but the more inconsistent you are, then obviously you're going to almost flag yourself in a way. So increase your frequency, people, increase the action, and it will allow you to do more. So I love that. I love that. Yep. Okay. So now let me ask you this. In a typical day, one of the things, Montana, that I hear so often, and I'm sure you do too, is, well, I'm busy. I have this, and I'm not saying that people aren't busy. We obviously know people are busy. We're busy. We have kids, we've got lives, we've got jobs, we've got tons of stuff, right? So take me through a typical day. Like okay, when you sit down to work, what does it look like? How does it flow? How do you plan for that?
Okay, so I do something that's called time blocking without the time. Okay. And so what I mean by that is I do block 1, block 2, and block 3. So usually that means morning, afternoon, evening for me. So I take a piece of paper and I write down what I'm going to do within that time block. And then I know that when I wake up, I'm going to start on time block 1. Let's see if I can find it over here. But I'm going to start on time block 1. And whatever that means, if that means I wake up at 5 a.m., then I get started on time block 1. But if that means I don't wake up until 10 a.m., then that means I'm starting on time block 1 at 10 a.m. All right. This is why I do time blocking without the time, because we get so caught up in, well, I need to make this like strict schedule for myself every single day. And then you're mad at yourself when you don't stick to that schedule. Okay. And so this is why I do like the time blocking without the time. So it looks something like this, to where I have like morning, and I know you guys can't see it that well, but it has like morning, it has certain tasks I'm going to do. It has afternoon, certain things I'm going to do. And then it has evening, certain things I'm going to do. And so this is like I just said, like you could start on time block 2 in the afternoon, whether that's noon or whether that's 4 p.m. Your third time block is like your catch up time block. And so this is where you get all the things done that you haven't been able to complete throughout your day. And whether you start that at 8 p.m. or 11 p.m., it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're completing the things that you wrote down that you said you were going to do before you go to bed. Okay. So this is why I say it's time blocking without like the specific time, because I am ADHD. I need to multitask and I need to do all the things at one time. And I always have like 50 internet browser tabs open in my head at one time. Okay. Like y'all, I got a bike that has a desk on it just so I can work and pedal and exercise and think and listen all at the same time. Okay. Like it literally has a desk on it. So that's something I do right there. And then I have like this lovely checklist that really helps me, because I'm a checklist person. So I get to go through and I get to checklist all these things off. And then I block out like what times that I actually did. Okay. Like when I actually showed up to that time block. So it has all the things for me where I can put my host a post on it. And just check mark things. So I have to check mark things every single day. And here's the thing. The reason most people feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I didn't get this done. Oh, I didn't have this happen, is because you are literally living a life where your time is telling you where to go and you're not telling your time where to go. And that is overwhelming and that is stressful, because I can't sit down and work my business for 30 minutes. I'll be in chaos of like, in a puppy dog video on TikTok watching something else, okay? Like, yeah. And so I choose like 15, maybe 20-minute intervals where I can work my business. It's not about working for 30 minutes to an hour straight. And you need to get that out of your head, y'all. It is about working it in the nooks and crannies. Okay. I would show up to my kids' soccer practice 30 minutes early just so I can put them on the field and I can sit in my car by myself and work my business. I would show up to picking my kids up at school 30 minutes early and wait in the pickup line just so I can sit and work my business, because I work wonders under pressure. Okay. And so I put myself intentionally under pressure so I know that I can function the best me. And so that's how I work my business every day, you guys.
I love it. I absolutely love that. So time blocking without the time, it's actually a really good, that is a really good method. I really like that. And you've been doing this a while. Do you find that it's less stressful that way and you get more done?
Oh, freaking yes. When I taught my team how to do this, and because a lot of them work full time, they were like, heck freaking yes. And now that they're implementing this and understanding it and getting into the routine of it, they are succeeding so much better with it. And I love it because at the end of the day, you feel really good about yourself instead of feeling really stressed about yourself.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. So now when you sit down to work, whether it's in, block 1, block 2, or block 3, and you talked about, you want 5 dates a day, right? Like that's your goal. So when you're working, and let's say you're working your host a post on Facebook, how does the organization of that flow for you? Like, do you instantly open up your phone and you're like, okay, I'm going to catch up on all the previous day host a post, then I'm going to get new ones? Because I think some people get so hung up on, okay, I can get new ones, but I forget to go back and check on the old ones. What is your flow and how do you make sure you're getting both done throughout the day?
Okay. So let's say I'm starting host to post, just like over. Okay. So let's say I'm going to go through, I'm going to get my people that actually post for me that day. I am going to check that at night. So I'm going to go through in my third period of time where I'm going to go through, I'm going to look at all the people. Cause I feel like we get into this routine of like, you need to check it every second. Every time somebody comments, you got to be right there that freaking second. You don't, I promise they're still going to be there. Okay. So I check that before I go to bed. And then when I wake up that next morning, as I'm going through, so my people, I always have them get a daily entry into our host to post. So the people that posted for me prior, they are going to post for me the following day as well, and probably all month long, because that's just the way that I phrase my host to post is that, hey, I'm going to get you a daily entry into our cash giveaway or whatever we're doing. Okay. And so the same people are going to post for me, but I'm going to add new people through my conversations every single day. So in the morning, I get the host to post up. In the evening, I recheck my other ones. The next morning I wake up, I'm going to have the same people post for me, but then just add in new ones as I'm having that product or distributor conversation, whatever it is. Because when they say no to the product, what am I going to do? I'm going to offer them to host to post. So that's how I'm always getting every day new people that host to post for me while continuing the other people that always host to post for me.
You know, that's a very interesting thing. And I don't know that I've heard that. So what I love, a couple things is so basically you could honestly care less if people say no to you. If they say no to the product, cool. Because guess what? You're probably going to be a host to post now. So no matter what, I'm utilizing you and placing you where you need to be as far as, you know, my overall business goes, which I love, right? Because everyone has a place, right? Like you were saying earlier, you said, I'm going to lead with the business, fall back on the product. And then, oh, you don't want the product? Okay, then let's host a post. So it's like literally they can do one of the three. I love that. Now, what do you do if you're saying daily entries? That's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. So having the same people post, your thought process is that no matter even if it's the same person posting, your goal is to turn over new people to connect with. Is that like the end goal? So I'm adding to your network in a sense. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So like the same people are going to post for me, but as I'm having that conversation with them because they commented on the host to post, I'm going to turn over those people that host a post for me. Like, you guys, listen, even if they buy product, I'm still going to ask them to host a post for me. It don't matter. Like, I'm still going to ask them whether they say no or whether they buy from me. That end goal is I'm still going to get them to host a post for me. Okay. And I'm going to be bluntly honest. If they don't do business, product, or host a post, I remove them. Bye. Okay. And I have to choose that I'm going to be a producer on my social media. And that means I'm going to produce an income, which means I have to do income producing activities because I have children that I have to feed. Right. And so that means I have to make sure that who I surround with on my social media are people that support me, even with host a post. They don't have to buy anything. Just host a post, just support in that way. And if you can't freaking do that, sister, bye.
Wow. So it's almost like, so I don't know if you've heard of the recent, there was the Amy Spence method where she only does giveaways to keep her funnel open of new referrals. I like that methodology of obviously you want new people circulating because we know fresh fish jump first, like we get that. But I like your method too, where you're not necessarily concerned with doing the giveaway host to post because you're so focused and diligent. Because here's the thing, guys, you can't just have the same people post for you every single day if you're not going to do the work to follow up like she's doing. So I just want to put that out there. So you're saying you are very diligent, and even if they post for you every single day, the goal is to get new people. It's to get new people posting for you from their posts, even if it is every single day. So you haven't found that it's ever gotten stale or that, okay, I have the same 10 people posting for me. You're just always expanding because they have new people.
Always expanding. Always. Like there was one month where I had like 100 people that would host a post for me every single day. And something I also do is like, I would have a group chat of the people that say yes to the entries. And I would just put them all in a group chat and let them know like, hey, don't talk in here type thing. But I'm just going to put the post in here that I need you to post every single morning. Just grab it and go post it on your page. And when I see it, I'll enter you. Okay. And I had like, I don't know, 50, 60 people that wanted to be in that group right there. But here's the thing, you guys, always look at it as I'm flipping the script always. Because if I see somebody who posted something about product and they have like 5 or more comments, what am I going to go do? I'm going to go flip the script and I'm going to offer them the business before I go and sign up all their friends as my customers.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. It gives you that opportunity to do that. And then you're having those DT conversations, right? In the midst of having product. I mean, it's host to post can honestly be all encompassing. And I think that's why so many people have gravitated towards it. And I love that. So, okay. So if I got to understand though, I'm sitting here in my head. I think some of us can get overwhelmed when we see I've got 100 host to post up and they have 5 to 100 comments. Like think of like mentally, I'm trying to understand, do you overwhelm yourself every day trying to follow up? How do you keep up with that? I guess I'm trying to understand.
That would be like saying that you don't want to succeed in your business if that's a question, because and I had people on my team say this too. Here's the thing. I'd rather be overwhelmed with success than underwhelmed and my phone is just dry. Okay. I've already had moments like that and it don't feel good. So I always keep it like this, even with TikTok. Okay. I've had 10,000 comments on just one post before. Okay. Yeah. What do you do about that? You just take it one person at a time. That's all you do. Okay. Because I still have people from like 5 months ago that I'm still contacting off that one freaking video. But do you think they're not going to be interested still? Yes. Yes, they are. Right. So we have to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves that, hey, I have to respond to this right away. And there's like 100 comments there and I don't have time. Stop it. Go message 5, sister. Okay.
Right. Work it down.
And then give yourself a break and go message another 5 in an hour after you have like get yourself together. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just think of it like that. I'd rather be overwhelmed than underwhelmed because I already know what it feels like to be underwhelmed. It's like knowing what struggle feels like and wanting to stay there. You don't want to stay there.
Like you're if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. I love that. And you know what I love too, if you think about it, we can choose to be overwhelmed with the success of it. But I look at it as that, okay, I can literally be busy every single day. And that's a beautiful thing because like you said, I could have nothing. I could literally have no one texting, no dings, no new notifications. And then you'd be upset coming to your upline like, oh my gosh, you're right. So I agree with you. And I find that it is so exciting to know I've got people in my inbox waiting for me to message them. I've got people on my social media waiting for me to respond to them. And we can look at it as, like you said, overwhelming, or you can look at it as this is opportunity, right? This is literally opportunity. Every single one of them. That's so exciting. So you don't overthink it. You're product based on Facebook, your business based on TikTok. Y'all, if you have all platforms or whatever platforms you have, if you're not utilizing them all, I have to agree, you're doing yourself a disservice because there is different people on every single platform and you have absolutely no idea who you can impact. So I love that. And you said about the block scheduling, I like without the time, that's genius. And I think that can help to eliminate some of the overwhelm that people unconsciously put on themselves. The moms and the single moms and the working moms and the ones that just like are going to lose their, you know what, every second, like don't overwhelm yourself. Right. I love that. That is magical.
Well, I came up with that because I was overwhelming myself. You know, I feel like a lot of us have been taught, you know, stick to a schedule, have this. And I was one of those people that was taught like, hey, if you feel like you're out of whack with things and you're not making time for it, well, then maybe you should have a schedule. I don't like schedules. I can never stick to them. I can very inconsistent with them. But if I know that I can wake up and start on time block 1 and I already have that pre-planned of what I'm going to do, then that's so much easier to freaking stick to than is to say I have to wake up at 7 a.m. every single morning and I have to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible. This is not fun anymore. Okay. And so that's why I created the time blocking schedule without the time, because I just felt like there was so much pressure relieved off of me and my shoulders and my team too. And sometimes we have to let go of control to get control.
Yeah, you're right. You know, and I think we also have to have that certain level though of self-discipline to know if you are in fact going to release some of that, the time blocks and the constraints, then you got to increase your self-discipline because now you're allowing yourself an opportunity to sit back and be a little bit lazy, or you're allowing yourself an opportunity to de-stress, like you said. And I think that it is up to us to make that decision. Like, okay, if we're going to kind of back off on the overwhelm, then you got to bring up your level of like action. Right. And so I love that. I love that. So let me ask you this, because I think it's interesting and it just dawned on me. What do you do for self-development? Like, how do you pour into you? Because you're talking about 10,000 comments. You guys, anyone hear that? 10,000 comments. Okay. And I remember you talking about another Zoom that I was on, but how do you pour into you? What does that look like for you now at the stage that you're in life, in business, all of it?
Okay, so I feel like when you lack in something, so for me, it's always been lacking in consistent leadership. And it's not really like lacking like I wasn't showing up. It was lacking with like confidence, lacking with belief. And sometimes I would over anger like with situations. And so this is where I had to realize, hey, you know what? Montana, you should probably really dive into like God. Okay. You need some help, sister. And so I dive into 2 devotionals every single day, Unshakable. And I don't have the other one in front of me to see the name, but I dive into 2 of those devotionals. And what I have learned over the last year of doing that is not necessarily that I wanted to, but that I needed to. And so I had to choose that need. And so this is where if I don't dive into my devotionals, I don't stay disciplined, because I know right after my devotionals, I work on my time block. And so that's how I stay disciplined right there with that. And then the other thing is I do personal development all the time, and I hate it. I hate personal development. I think it's ridiculous, because when I first was introduced to it, I was like, man, I'm already fantastic. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what do you want me to develop? That was literally what I said when Chad Neller introduced me to personal development. And this was like, oh, Montana, you have anger issues. Oh, Montana, you are not patient. Oh, Montana, you have this issue. I'm like, oh man, maybe I really suck and stuff. And so I always choose personal development every day. But here's what I do, you guys. I don't remember stuff very easily. And so, like I said, I'm ADHD. So I could be looking at you and listening, but not really listening. And I could literally be in the other world. Okay. Yes. And so this is where I take notes. So I listen to 15 minutes, like 10 to 15 minutes, and I will take notes of everything that impacted me. And then I will take it and I'll either make a video, I'll go live, or I'm going to go tell one of my leaders about it. Okay. Or maybe I'm going to tell my whole leadership group right there. Great. And I am going to just spit it out so I know that I received, I was filled up, and then I poured. So that's like my routine that I always do with personal development. And I just stick to all of those things, all of them. So I just feel like, and I'm constantly like listening to something new every single week, because here's what you have to realize for personal development. Just because I'm reading a book does not mean that book is for you. Okay. Just because something works for me does not mean that you should be listening to the same thing. Okay. And I feel like that's what you have to realize, is that if it doesn't grab you within the first like 10 to 15 minutes that you're listening to that and speak to your soul, that ain't for you yet. That's not your season for that book yet. Okay. Now down the road, it might be for you, but in this certain season, it's not for you. So that's how I usually try to pick out my personal development books, is like, look at what the other leaders are reading, choose, and then just kind of go through in that way.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That is the receive, filled up, and then pour out. That is genius. That is so good. Okay, so last few things, a couple questions for you. Do you send out any cold messages for host to post? Kind of, yes. You kind of answered that. I mean, as far as like do you green light? Like, is that, I don't know if people call it green lighting or messaging your friends list. Is that what you do normally?
So I never call it cold messaging, and I hope I can change your perspective on that word. I hate that word. I think it's a terrible word. Okay. Because I feel like if you are on my friends list, like, you are green lighted to get a message from me. Okay. You are there for a reason. And if you didn't want to be there, then you can remove yourself off my Facebook. So I never think of like cold messaging at all. I always think of as, I am going to reach out to you, and whatever your response is, like, you're in control of that. I don't have control of that. So you guys listen, no matter what somebody else's response is, that never is a reflection of you or how you should create that emotional attachment to somebody else's like response. Whether it is good response, whether they are mad at me response, or whether they say no response, I do not care, because the end result is going to be next, next, next. And that's the way I always think of it, as I just don't have like that emotional connection to whatever you have to say, because I'm not in charge of what comes out your mouth.
Exactly. And it's just like, when people, what is it? So, someone else's opinion of you is none of your business. You can't control it. Like you said, I can't change it. I can't control it. So why am I worrying about it? Don't. Right. I love that. Okay. Another question was, let's see. What hosted post works best for you? So I'm assuming they're asking for products. Is there a certain one? Are you gummies? Are you coffee, TFXX? I know there's a few some people use.
I do hair, skin, and nails with always a picture that has like the numbers beside it. I do gummies, and I do like a blank one, like where it's just like, who has interest in losing 30 plus pounds on a $39 below budget. Or I love the hearts one, where they said like, and I never have them say like, my friend Montana. I don't ever have them say that kind of stuff. Okay. I am tagged in it. They know I'm involved with this post. Okay. So I don't ever have them say anything like that, because I hate them. And then I just have them do like the hearts one, where they just has like a goal amount of weight. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's like a different color heart, and the goal. Yeah, I know
that one hits like every single time. Every time someone posts for me, it always hits every time for like years.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I like that one. And guys, I had that, and I can share that. So the last question, Montana, it says, do you journal?
Okay, so I do, but not consistently. So I do, well, on my thing, it has like already journaling things on it. So it has like what you're grateful for. And then it also has like, I'm in the process of becoming, and then you write the 3 things that you want to become. So I do that kind of stuff every morning, but journaling, I don't do every day. I do journaling when I'm having a rough day and I need to get those emotions out, because usually I'm really good at finding solutions, but on the days where I'm like, I have nobody to talk to, nobody's listening, nobody's available, I journal that out. Okay. So I don't journal consistently.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's subjective too, guys. Like, kind of what she was saying about the books. I think that I wouldn't say that journaling has to be an end all be all for everyone, because I think that we're all different. Right. And I agree. I think, I'm kind of the same in the fact that I love brain dumping on certain days. Like if it feels too heavy and too much is going on, I just get it out, and it feels better out than it is in, versus me speaking it out to people that I shouldn't be speaking it to. So I love that. So guys, I
have a lot of girls on my team who journal at 7:00 every single morning with Cheyenne Knox, and they love that kind of stuff. That's just not for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's one of those things, that I think, is subjective. And so guys, if it definitely works for you, stick with it. If it's something that makes you feel good, keep doing it. Right. Definitely don't change, what's working for you. But if it's not working, then be resourceful enough to know, okay, I got to pivot. I got to change. I got to be okay with that. And I think, and I think you would agree, Montana, that sometimes like we feel like when we have to pivot, we feel like we failed. Like, oh, well, what I was doing isn't working, and now all of a sudden I have to change it up. No, it just means you have to change it up. Keep it face value for what it is. I think we like to tend to like bleed it into, oh, this is a reflection of my leadership and my mothering and my, like all this stuff. And you're like, what are you doing? Like, no, sis, just pivot. Right. I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
You are so welcome.
I am so excited, you guys. I will get you the recording. I appreciate all of you.